Yesterday, I was cutting weeds with my regular big scythe, you know, the old wood contraption. And I split a handle. Now these are a complicated little piece of equipment. So I'm making a couple of new ones. But what I'm making them out of is an old shovel handle. You know, I always hang on to any odd little pieces of hardwood from broken handles and stuff. Now, to do it, I first drilled a pilot hole all the way through so I could get a center. You know, I'm cutting the rest of the shape. There has to be a little shoulder in here where this thing fits. But then, you know, that piece goes on this wood piece up the other way to grip on the wood. So I got to get the shoulder right. But then since that bolt has got to go through there, once I get this shaped the way I want it, I have to drill out the steps, because this is where the bolt has got to go, you know, that holds this piece on. And since it's wide to where it comes around the piece of wood, that's got to be big. Then the next step is to actually take care of the part where the bolt is overlapped. Then the narrow part where the single bolt goes. Then I got to make a recess in the end for where the nut goes. And these have to be backward spreads too, so I got to make sure I don't lose those nuts. It's a complicated little piece of equipment, but I like using these. Like the newer ones, I have seen both fiberglass handled ones and aluminum ones. Well, they don't appeal to me, so I got this little old one, which I really like. And I just, when I had it apart here, I put a couple of coats of pine tar on it because it's got to last. And I'll do the same with the handles when I get them made. But it's surprising how, you know, something that you would think is simple is not simple. But by drilling a pilot hole so that I can get a center, and then I'll just have to carefully, you know, first drill this hole out to the right depth, to the right size, then go back and drill this hole out. You know, it's kind of a stagey sort of thing. But, you know, I'll get her done in the end. You know, I got the shoulder about where I want it. I got to do a little shaping on this part. Then I got to do the very careful drilling, which is why I'm making not two, which is what it takes. I'm making three. You know, you always make three, so you got a little room to screw them up. And it won't hurt to have a spare on hand. Oh, and the racket in the background, you know, that's running the generator to be able to run this. But anytime I'm doing something like that, now I'm running the generator, but I'm tumbling, you know, I'm running this, but I'm tumbling brass, charging a DeWalt battery, and charging my laptop at the same time, so I'm multitasking again. Well, I got the new handles made for this. And it is funny, uh, working on this has been a kind of a revelation. You know, I'm used to using them, but never really paid too much mind to the details of just how involved they are. No, just you know, you think that something like this evolved from somebody putting a stick for a handle on a sharp piece of rock and saying, yeah, that works good, okay. But just much more involved than I thought that they were. You know, just pick one up and use one, yeah, it works. You know, there's a heck of a lot more to it. You know, just the little details, like, you know, people fuss about the grain in an axe handle, and then you look at something like this where you've got a straight grain piece of ash that is steam bent to make that just elegant curve, you know. It's interesting, and I can see why, you know, a lot of now they do sell new ones that are made out of like aluminum, and I can see why, you know, because this is craftsmanship. To make something like this is just impressive as all get out. You know, it's not like somebody just designed this. This is something that's evolved over time. And this has like reached the pinnacle of the evolution. But even you know, the way these handles go on, that's where I was impressed. I mean, the handle impresses me, the main shaft itself. But then when I'm working on these handles, you know, just the way they designed them, you know, they're like infinitely adjustable. But the fact that they used, well, there's so many things about it. But the fact that it's got the left hand nuts on here. Now, one of them, when I replaced it, I was lucky I had some spare parts, because I don't know where you would find a nut like that. You know, it's a kind of a one-off deal. But they're left-hand, because when you're using it, you know, if you had them right-hand, they would naturally try to loosen up. These naturally try to tighten. Just really impressed with it. You know, like I say, it's a revelation of just how just excellent these are. And, you know, it's the kind of thing now I will have to keep my eyes out for more of them, because they turn up now and again, and usually the handles are bad. Well, okay, I understand, I can make handles. That's not a big thing. Even the main shaft itself, there is still a company that makes them out of ash, that bends them, and they're like 120 or something. I don't know, you know, how good they are, but at least somebody's still making them. But most of them that you find, these are the handles that are bad. They crack and stuff. So these, you know, I made them out of hickory, and I was handling them very carefully, because they're really hollowed out to make that where this strap goes up through them. It's thin in there, which is why they always go bad. So I got a really good fit there. Recessed the nuts so that, you know, that's actually what, when you tighten them down, the nut is locked into the handle. But then I actually packed the inside with pine tar. The whole handle's been pine tar, the whole thing. But just, I'm really impressed with it. You know, some things are just like a revelation that you hadn't expected. You know, I thought, okay, handle, you know, just make a handle. A lot more to it. But I'm glad I have it, and it's the kind of thing I would never, know that I value it this much, I would never borrow out to somebody. Because unless you can appreciate just how involved they are, you would abuse them. You know, and it's funny because, you know, I thought she was sharp, but she can be sharper. You know, there's little nicks and stuff that have got to come out of there. And then I do have a whole nother, you know, like I say, parts, you know, from auction sales I end up with that will fit on exactly the same, slightly different angle to it and slightly shorter. But I'll have to clean this one up. Actually, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, just rusty. But it's funny, you know, you take something for granted and then you look close at it and you suddenly begin to appreciate just how involved that is. I know it was the time when I built an igloo, you know, you take igloo, you know, you see people building them out of compacted blocks of snow and you think, well, you know, there's a whole lot more to that than meets the eye. It's, again, another one of them things that evolved over time to a state of perfection. It's funny when you hit something like that, that is just a revelation. Need more of them in this world.